parts of downtown Denver remain boarded up and trashed.
We will not be using the word protest or march. This was a riot.
1 year after a police encounter that changed many lives and took one too soon, another protest is planned for a Wisconsin man reportedly shot in front of his kids by police. We're talking to experts about what changes must be made.
What we are actually doing is healing our nation through love, through unity.
Plus, wildfires continue to rage across large parts of our state. Kids return to school, some dealing with serious technical trouble, and teen brothers killed in a Walmart parking lot.
Weekend protests demanding justice for Elijah McClain were nearly overshadowed by a violent riot in Denver.
And it is exactly what Elijah's mother wanted to avoid. Tonight, Black Colorado leaders are making it clear those rioters are not part of their movement. Here's Denver7's Jessica Porter.
Every city, every town burned the precinct to the ground.
In the aftermath of Saturday's violent demonstration in Denver, a local Quiznos owner is trying to get back to business, despite boarded up windows. A flagpole at the city and county building stands empty.
Remember, we protested peacefully when Eric Garner was choked to death. We are no longer peaceful. We are going to fight until we get justice.
Leaders in the Black community say the majority of demonstrators Saturday were white, and they are not part of the movement for equality.
We don't partake in violence, destroying of property along those lines. We don't go to a rally or a protest with hammers under hoods trying to hide our faces because we are proud of who we are.
The destruction is the very reason Elijah McClain's mother held a separate event Sunday. Protesters there listened to a peaceful violin vigil.
I think that it speaks to what our nation needs. What we are actually doing is healing our nation through love, through unity.
The Colorado Black Roundtable says violent demonstrators will need to do more than demand defunding the police. They need help creating practical solutions.
How can this be dealt with in the 21st century so that it's community-oriented policing, but it's positive policing? And how do we engage as a community what it is we want to have folks serve and protect us?
1 year since Elijah McClain was detained by police and no one has been charged for his death. Representative Leslie Herod told a crowd this weekend more work needs to be done, but reminded them of the unprecedented step Colorado took passing the Police Accountability Bill.
And I want to say that your calls did not go unheard. And in Colorado, we have once and for all ended qualified immunity for law enforcement right here.
Jessica Porter, Denver7.
Now tonight we are expecting a large demonstration in honor of this man, Jacob Blake. Blake survived after he was reportedly shot in the back by police in Kenosha, Wisconsin over the weekend. Now there are demonstrations planned across the country, and here in Denver, a crowd will be gathering around 6:30 at Manual High School, and we will have a live report from the school on Denver7 News at 6.
Quick update for you on the 4 major wildfires burning in Colorado. The Pine Gulch Fire near Grand Junction, the second largest in state history now at more than 133,000 acres, and tonight it's 44% contained. The Williams Fork Fire in Grand County and Cameron Peak Fire in Larimer County, both 10,000 acres and both less than 5% contained. And some evacuation orders around the Grizzly Creek Fire have been updated to pre-evacuation orders today.
That fire closed down I-70 near Glenwood Springs for 2 weeks. The state's most traveled interstate reopened through Glenwood Canyon this morning. Of course, those fires have certainly left their mark on I-70 and on people around the area.
Denver7's Sean TOWLE has more tonight from Glenwood Springs.
In Glenwood Springs, smoke still fills the air from the Grizzly Creek fire, but they did get a bit of good news on Monday. I-70 in the canyon is back open.
A little bit of hope. I mean, today gives me a little bit of hope now that it's open.
Hope is in short supply for many this tough year, but for the Slope and Hatch restaurant, closing I-70 during the busy summer has added insult to the COVID-19 injury.
Last 2 weeks, ever since it happened, it was like a ghost town. Nobody's here.
There were a few more people back Monday, but some businesses stay closed for fire and highway closures.
Today, now that they opened it this morning, has actually been a little bit busier, but still super slow.
The reopening of I-70 has resulted in more of a trickle for businesses here rather than a flood, and the damage is done.
It was kind of scary to see all the destruction from it.
And those torched canyons could lead to a lot more problems down the road.
That's what we were talking about. In the winter, I think it's going to have a huge effect.
Even a relatively modest amount of rain could trigger the kind of mudslide activity that causes us to close, at least for a little while.
Transportation officials are warning all drivers to check the weather before winding through the canyon.
We are actually pre-positioning equipment, getting ourselves ready for when these closures come, because it's not if, it's when.
Those who settle here do know that those views come with conditions.
It's just a part of living in Colorado. You just got to be aware of those things and plan for them accordingly.
The fire is currently at 33% containment, which is still a long ways to go in fighting that, but it is enough for the evacuation order to be lifted in no name and for I-70 to be back open. Reporting in Glenwood Springs, Sean Toll, Denver 7.
Lakewood police do not believe last night's shooting at the Walmart off Colfax and Wadsworth was random, and today they told us 2 teenage brothers died, 18-year-old Damian Wyckoff and his 17-year-old brother Dylan. Police say they don't think there is any threat to the public. They do not have any information about the suspect or the car they were in.
You will hear car horns if you go by Westminster City Hall tonight. Angry water customers are planning a car protest to make their voices heard about rising water bills. We spoke to several Westminster residents about this issue last week. One woman told us her bill was up 60% over last year. Westminster Public Works says water usage is up because of COVID and because of the heat. Well, late this afternoon, the city of Lafayette announced a ransomware attack hit its computer system last month. Cyber criminals may have had access to a wide range of personal information that includes some Social Security numbers. The city says it's in the process of adding new security and rebuilding its servers from that attack. They did not say if any ransom was paid.